In the early 1960s, the border between Israel and Syria was a rapidly escalating flashpoint. The geography heavily favored Syria. From the elevated terrain of the Golan Heights, Syrian military forces positioned heavy artillery facing downward, allowing them to continuously rain shells onto Israeli settlements in the valley below. Israel found itself critically vulnerable. They were entirely blind to the Syrian General Staff's immediate military plans, creating an intelligence vacuum that desperately needed to be filled. Standard espionage operations were impossible. Damascus operated as a tightly controlled police state that instantly flagged outsiders. Mossad needed a ghost, an operative possessing an absolutely flawless background to bypass these security filters. They found their asset in an ordinary citizen named Eli Cohen. He had a native fluency in both Arabic and French, an authentic Middle Eastern upbringing from his time in Egypt, and a photographic memory capable of retaining vast amounts of raw data. Cohen's demographic profile provided the specific credentials required to bypass the screening of an otherwise impenetrable security apparatus. In the intelligence community, a legend is a fabricated identity constructed with so much detail and social reinforcement that it can withstand extreme, sustained state scrutiny. To build Cohen's legend in 1961, Mossad's first operational step took him far from the Middle East. They sent him to Buenos Aires, Argentina. There, he assumed his new identity, Kamel Amin Thaabet, a wealthy, fiercely patriotic Syrian expat who had supposedly made a massive fortune in the textile business. He weaponized this fabricated wealth in Argentina, throwing lavish parties to systematically embed himself among influential Syrian diplomats and military attachés living abroad. By laundering his identity through this wealthy diaspora, Cohen manufactured undeniable social proof. When he finally traveled to Syria, the regime wouldn't scrutinize him as a stranger. They would welcome him as a returning VIP. Cohen deployed to Damascus in 1962 and rented a luxury apartment situated directly across the street from the Syrian General Staff headquarters. He turned this apartment into his primary intelligence gathering hub. By hosting elite gatherings, Cohen used a steady flow of alcohol and lavish hospitality to loosen the lips of Syrian generals, who openly discussed top-secret defense plans right in his living room. This level of access secured him a personal tour of the highly restricted, heavily fortified Syrian military bunkers along the Golan Heights. While inspecting these sites, Cohen executed a subtle psychological manipulation. He feigned deep sympathy for the soldiers baking in the intense sun, suggesting they plant eucalyptus trees directly over the bunkers for shade. The true objective behind this advice had nothing to do with shade. Cohen was creating permanent, highly visible markers for subterranean targets. With a simple piece of agricultural advice, Cohen bypassed millions of dollars in physical military fortifications, turning the enemy's own infrastructure into an exact targeting system. In the 1960s, spycraft suffered from a severe mechanical bottleneck. To make his intelligence actionable, Cohen had to transmit it back to Tel Aviv every single day using a hidden Morse code radio. These daily transmissions provided immense value. They exposed covert Syrian troop movements and detailed a major plan to divert the headwaters of the Jordan River. But Syrian intelligence eventually deployed a fatal countermeasure. Frustrated by the constant leaks, they brought in Soviet radio direction-finding vans specifically designed to triangulate rogue signals. The climax arrived in January 1965. During a coordinated citywide radio silence, Syrian security forces pinpointed Cohen's active transmission, breaking through his door and catching him red-handed. The very mechanism required to make his intelligence useful, the daily communication, was the inescapable vulnerability that guaranteed his eventual downfall. Despite an international outcry and offers of massive ransom, the verdict was absolute. On May 18, 1965, Eli Cohen was publicly executed in the center of Marja Square. The true payoff of his operation materialized 2 years later during the 1967 Six-Day War. Israeli jets used exact locations of Cohen's eucalyptus trees to instantly identify and decimate the Syrian defenses. The impact was officially recognized at the highest levels. Prime Minister Levi Eshkol stated that Cohen's intelligence directly saved thousands of Israeli lives. The intelligence Cohen gathered from inside Damascus successfully guided the seizure of the Golan Heights, redrawing the borders of the region.